Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions. Growing up as a child, one of the phrases I became quite familiar with was, hand me down. Hand me down. Whether it was clothes, instruments, games, tools, virtually anything material, so much of what I had was hand me down from family. And how often I'd find a brown paper grocery bag with folded up clothes handed on by my Uncle Fred. And this still happens to today. Just this past winter, my mom and dad brought up and delivered another brown paper bag with shirts from my Uncle Fred. Take care to guard against all greed. How every one of us needs to take care to guard against all greed. Because it's such a temptation. And so how do we do that? Each of us here, practically. One way, might I suggest, the practice of letting go, the practice of giving things away. And not simply our excess, what we don't want or no longer need, but from among our valued possessions, so that they do not possess us. It's a danger for all of us to become attached, possessive of the things we have accumulated, stored up. But the Christian, even though we may be rich, needs to practice detachment, generous letting go. Because the one thing we may not be as Christians is selfish. Now, it's probably no surprise, but even us priests can become very attached to material goods, our possessions. And so it's impressive to me, as a younger priest, when I witness another fellow priest live simplicity, practice detachment. I think of that because just this last Thursday, up in Big Fork, we had a deanery meeting, a gathering of priests that was hosted by the pastor there. And though we probably wouldn't say priests are wealthy, I would say us priests, worldly standard, in many ways are rich, well taken care of, which is a gift, a good thing, so long as we live detached. One way, as I suggested, the practice of letting things go, giving things away. And so I was impressed, as often I have been, when this priest, Father Jeremy Bach, did this. And he does it again and again and again as he accumulates belongings, and to be clear, quality belongings, not, junk. He often turns around and gives these things away. And this Thursday, he did that. Selection of items he made available for any of us to take. Quality books, outdoor gear, clothing, expensive water bottles, how expensive some of these have become, etc. The point is the willingness to let valuable things go. There's another priest in his upper 50s now, and that's when I think life can become a bit more comfortable, when we have accumulated a fair amount of nicer things. And this priest, for Lent one year, decided to give away at least one nice material possession every day of Lent. Our Lord asked this question: the things you have prepared, to whom will they belong? The lesson of this parable, the judgment of our God against this man, is not that he's rich. It's not that he has to his name many possessions, but that he is only concerned with and possessed by, and this is the key, his very self. In the parable, this man, in so few words, he makes 13 references to himself. Well, he makes 0 to God and 0 to others. You go back and look at this, how often you see the word I, myself. This is what I shall do. He stored up treasure, but only for himself. And this we must guard against. Greed, that is. So how might you and I, Christians, who in so many ways are so blessed and so rich, how might we be more generous and detached with what we have been given?